A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his clothes became dazzling white, such as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah and Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." Peter did not know what to say, for they were terrified. Then a cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud there came a voice, "This is my Son, the beloved, listen to him." Suddenly, when they looked around, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, he ordered them to tell no one about what they had seen until after the Son of Man had risen from the dead. So they kept the matter to themselves, questioning what this rising from the dead could mean. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. You might wonder how today's first reading and the Gospel may pair with each other. The first reading from the book of Genesis tells us the story of Abraham's test that God commanded Abraham to offer his son Isaac as a burnt offering. Meanwhile, we read the episode of the Transfiguration of Jesus in the Gospel. You may uncover parallelism between these two passages. A careful reading will find many similarities. But I'd like to note one common point. It is sacrifice. You might not immediately perceive it in the Transfiguration, but when we realize what Jesus discussed with Moses and Elijah, it becomes clear. However, Mark does not tell us what they discussed, but we can guess from what Jesus ordered the 3 apostles. The hint lies in this rising from the dead. Jesus spoke to Moses and Elijah about his passion, his upcoming suffering and death. And we can confirm this in Luke's Gospel. Luke expresses Jesus' coming passion as his exodus, that he would accomplish at Jerusalem. Now Abraham was ready to sacrifice his only legitimate son, Isaac, as God demanded. And Isaac was obediently followed his father Abraham, bearing wood. Jesus announced his self-sacrifice according to the will of his Father in heaven, and God confirmed the divine sonship before the apostles. We still speak about sacrifice in our times. However, sacrifice to God is almost forgotten, even among many Christians. The expression offering up is a sign of previous generations of Christians. The sacrifice of our times mostly means altruistic service. But when the Blessed Mother appeared to the 3 children of Fatima and asked them to sacrifice, she was not speaking about social service or volunteering. The Blessed Virgin was asking for prayers and sufferings offered to God. Whether corporal or mental, she was encouraging offering before God. And we may call it a spiritual sacrifice. But modern man has a hard time understanding it, especially here in North America, where utilitarianism takes a deep root in our minds. People cannot find much meaning in offering sacrifice to God. We have a hard time seeing any utility of self-denial. For example, abstinence and fast, except for health. Or clerical celibacy may promote the efficiency of ministry or save operating cost, but for what other use, we may ask. And people ask themselves, how can my fasting of meals affect or influence my friend's conversion? Or how does my continence alleviate my mother's pains from cancer? A step further, some will ask question, how does God convert my sacrifice to any use? Isn't He already equipped with sufficient grace to hand out? Why does God need my sacrifice? For what use? Judeo-Christian experiences teach that spiritual sacrifices mediate God and man. All divine encounters in the Old Testament include offering sacrifices. Worship without a sacrifice, be it a burnt offering or a hymn of praise or a prayer of thanksgiving, is nothing but a lip service without God's presence. You will not find an example of a divine covenant without offering a sacrifice in the Bible. In the end, the Son of God became the true mediator between God and man for man's salvation by Himself becoming a sacrifice. The mediator Himself became the sacrifice. The sacrifice of Jesus, the self-sacrifice of His life before God the Father, did not resolve poverty in the world, nor eradicated all diseases, nor installed permanent peace in the world, nor prevented environmental pollution. However, it opened the door to life eternal. When God demanded Abraham of the sacrifice of Isaac, to our surprise, Abraham did not ask God any questions. A spiritual sacrifice is a sincere sign of one's faith and trust in God. And it seems the best way to move God. At every Mass, the sacrifice of Christ brings God's presence down to us.